leaving. I'm gonna go over some of the things that we went over last time and then jump right back into the whole scripting tutorial. Let me know if my audio. I'm gonna go over some of the things that we went over last time. There. Okay. Muting the stream. I don't want to double up the sounds. All right. So let me know if the sounds are good. So I'm gonna go ahead and click here. You should hear a little noise when I click. Then let's see. Checking the stream parts. Right now, I should disable the window capture. I think it's freaking out. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to go ahead and jump all the way up to my documents. GX. Okay, that's not where I saved it. Where was the last one that I had it? Must be this one. Yeah, that's it. All right. So let's see. Double checking. You guys are on the right screen. Hey guys. So I'm not sure how many I have in here. Guess it's not a big deal. So I am just going to be starting the scripts pretty soon here. If there's any questions or anything, just let me know. I also need to set this up so that window capture. Doesn't seem to like the window capture now. Alright, one sec. Let me go ahead and re-add a window capture. Sometimes this happens, it just will not like it. This should be it. I'm hoping. Not quite. Actually, well, let me double check that. It's because I don't have it open. Okay. I'll go ahead and get that fixed real quick. Window capture. Go ahead and grab the script editor. And there. Okay. So the script editor is up. I'm going to go ahead and get it to fit to screen. Looking good. Move it to the right. Or left. Okay. There you go. You guys can see me for the most part. I have the rest of the screen back there. This is about as much as the script editor will fill up. Alright. Woo! Okay, so let's go ahead and start this. If you remember, we were making a script about robots. That was our learning point. So we figured out, we learned how to make a class right here using the class declaration. I'm declaring the class robot right here, and then it's ending right about here. So that's where the class begins, is where it ends, and everything in here is what makes up that class. So then we showed inheritance. So this class Thunderbot is going to inherit everything from this. So everything here is going to be in this without having to have it all written out. And that allows us to change things here, and it'll change things in both these classes that are inheriting it, and it makes it a ton easier. So I'll go into some of the other things we went into, and I'll show you maybe how to do some cool things. Nothing probably that's going to be usable just yet. It takes some time. Once you learn the scripting, then you can start making your own things. You're going to want to learn some of these scenes and some of these windows before you actually can make some cool menus or anything like that. So let's begin. Let's see. We also learned how to declare a global variable right here. And global variables we know can be accessed anywhere. The robot.new is how we create a new instance of the class that we just declared. And that'll allow us to change it. So by passing in the word steal, which once it's in quotes, it's considered a word, otherwise known as a string in programming. That is passed on over here to the plating type. And this plating variable that we have here is going to be steal. Whereas when we created this other new one, it's going to be diamond. And that one's saved to the basic diamond robot. So that is how we can create an instance of a class and be able to manipulate that instance. So now we have basically two different robots here. They're all both based off of this, but they're just a little bit different thanks to adding and sending these through. So as we see, we changed it up. We also showed you how to do a definition or a def, and this is part of the robot. This is part of the behavior and how we tell it to do things. So let's see, def initialize. When we initialize it, this here takes one of the parameters and saves it to this name. So when we send steal in, it's going to be saved as this, and then we can reference it only inside the the definition that it's being called through. So it will not affect this one. Setup doesn't know that this exists. However, when we use the @ sign, like at plating, that tells us it's a local variable or a class variable, and it is available all throughout. So throughout this entire class, we can use this @ symbol followed by plating because it's declared up here to reference what plating type the robot is. So if I wanted to go to setup and say if plating, we need to use the if at plating equals steel, and then we can create a new variable for armor, just using that, at armor equals 5. Okay, so the if statement, you should be familiar with conditional branches, but conditional branches are pretty much the same thing. If is a conditional branch basically, so we're saying if the plating is steel, the armor equals 5, and we declare that using if, and then we end it with an end. So this right here makes up a block of a conditional branch. So hopefully you're familiar enough with eventing, and if you're not, maybe it's a good idea to take some courses on eventing before you jump into scripting. But if you are, even if you're not, it's a very simple statement. Right here is the if. So if, we just type if, and it's no different from saying if something is one way, we do something. If it's not, it's another way. It's very conditional. It's based on a condition. Very, very simple. If you just think about it in your head, it'll make sense. So we're saying if the plating is steel, then the armor is 5. So we're also saying, all right, so see, one thing is this declares a new class variable. So we say at armor equals 5, and that's the way you declare a new class variable. I went into some of these, so I'll go over these real quick right now. The writer allows it so that we can write to it. We can send information using, say, basic diamond robot dot direction facing equals north. So that allows us to write the word north into the direction facing variable because it's set as writer. We cannot, however, reference it outside. So if I said if basic diamond robot dot direction facing equals, that's how we compare north. I'll go into comparators in a second, since we're already here in the conditions. So I can't do this because there's no way to, it's only set for writing. It can't be read. So by reading, it means all I have to do is type in dot after the variable name it's saved in. So if I type in the variable name followed by a dot and then the name of the variable, normally it would read the variable, but since it's only set to write, it can't read that variable. So you won't use writer very much, so no worries about that one. Accessor allows reading and writing. Reading is basically when you can reference it using this, but you can't write to it. So you couldn't do something like this. using a reader variable. So you don't have to do those. They're very useful though. They especially if you want to access them, because like you can't do any of that if you can't be read or written to outside of the variable if it's like this armor, the way this armor one's being declared. So that's those three, as well as this fourth one. There's actually 4 different variable ones. This one's they're all class variables. They all just have different ways of being read, written, and accessed. So this one cannot be accessed in any way outside of the robot. That doesn't mean we can't manipulate it though. So let's say def upgrade. So we're creating a new def that we can call our definition, and we're hitting in. So the upgrade would allow our armor to go up +5. So in order to increase, if I remember correctly, is it plus equals? I'm pretty sure. So normally in some languages you would have to type at armor equals itself +5. Ruby, and I'm sure a few other scripting languages, have a simplified version of that, which is at armor plus equals 5. So that's basically the same thing. Normally you would have to take the variable and then take itself and then add what number you want to it. Very loopy way of doing it. Very odd in terms of arithmetic and math, whereas normally if you want 5 + 2 = 7, you would have to do something like this, which is a little odd. So they simplified that, thankfully, and so did a few other languages to be something more like this. A lot easier. So that's the armor variable. We declare it here in setup, and then we can call an upgrade def. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to call a definition or a definition or a defined class, I guess. Or defined. You know, I really don't know what the def means. I'm pretty sure I figured it just meant definition, but either way, that's just how it's written. So now I'm going with definition. Anyways, terminology aside, I'm going to go ahead and go into def. How to call a def outside. So this class is made up of this robot class is made up of these different defs. So when it's initialized, when we call .new, we will set the plating to whatever's passed through, and then we'll run the setup. And this is how we call defs. We just set up, and then we go at number of sensors equals 5. So we set the number of sensors equal to 5, and we set the plating equal to steel, or we say if the plating is steel, the armor's 5. So let's say we want to be able to upgrade him at some point. So somewhere in your language, maybe he goes to a shop and clicks a button on a upgrade. We would be able to call the upgrade for the robot. So basic, let's say steel robot dot upgrade, and that's all we have to do. It's a lot like referencing or calling variables, except we don't change them. So all we have to do is do that, and it calls the upgrade variable, and every time this is read in the code, it's going to increase the armor by 5. Ah, thanks. Yeah. Alright, so hopefully you guys are learning something here. So this is still very basic, but you could actually add an upgrade class to a actor, and every time you call it, you could upgrade the actor's armor or stats. Very simple. You could do that through eventing and make it like really easy. So anyways, it'd be kind of backwards since you can just do it through common events and items and things like that. So it's a little bit, it would be a little backwards, but you could still do it, and it would be good practice. Alright, so define upgrade. Armor plus 5.